Corey Williams, this is the Milwaukee Police. Open the door. It's open it! Open it now!
What you saying? I can't hear him.
Run off the back door or something.
Hold on. Let me see your hands. Corey, come out, Corey. Come out. Come out. Sir, come on out.
All right. The babies are in here.
Who else is in here? Who else is in here?
Not the babies. Can I get my
sit back here.
sisters? Can I get my sisters? Can I get my sisters?
Yes, all right.
Can I please?
Hey, let me see your hands!
He swings me over to the table. There's a firearm on the table, or a gun. Yeah, I grab it and I shoot him.
So you were only 2-3 feet away?
Yeah, I wasn't that far away.
This 18-year-old just told the detectives exactly how he shot his own father more than 5 times, while the whole family was right there, watching. And by the time the judge would hand down the sentence, the lives of his family would never remain the same. To understand how a son ends up shooting his own father in front of the whole family, you have to go back and look at who these people were and what kind of life they were living before July 2nd ever came around, because the situation inside that apartment did not come out of nowhere. Corey Williams Sr. was 47 years old, a father of several children, who had been living in apartment number 7 at 1111 West Atkinson Avenue on Milwaukee's north side for at least 10 years, according to public records. This man had no criminal record, no history with law enforcement, nothing on paper that would tell you this was a person headed toward a violent end. By every public record available, he was just a father in a tough neighborhood trying to hold things together for his kids. And for a while, that is exactly what he was doing. His son, Corey D. Williams Jr., was 18 years old and had been living in that same apartment with his father right up until a couple of weeks before everything went sideways. Jr. had no criminal record either, not as a juvenile or as an adult, nothing in the Milwaukee County system under his name. He was the kind of young man who, up to that point in his life, had stayed completely clear of trouble. But the family was under serious pressure. At some point before July 2nd, the children's mother had been evicted from the Atkinson Avenue apartment. And after that happened, Corey Sr. stepped up and started taking care of the younger children himself, keeping them in the apartment while the mother figured out her living situation. That left the family split across different addresses. Some kids with the father, some staying with relatives, everybody just trying to make it work in the middle of a messy situation. Then, roughly 2 weeks before July 2nd, Corey Sr. kicked Jr. out of the apartment. The reason for that has never been made public. The court records do not explain it. What we know is that after getting put out, Jr. moved in with his sister, while the younger children stayed with their father on West Atkinson. So now the family was even more scattered than before. And the oldest son was no longer welcome in the one place most of the kids were still living. Now, here is where the story gets a lot more serious, because the mother's account of why the family went back to that apartment that day tells you everything about the kind of home situation these people had been living with long before the shooting ever happened.
I guess let's start. Where did you stay or where did you stay? It would have been
the night before I came.
Tuesday into Wednesday, yeah.
I was over at my sister's house.
Okay, and that is where?
That was on 48th and Custer.
Okay, and then you stayed there by yourself?
No, my other sister is there too. That's my sister's house.
But none of your kids were there?
No, they were still over there at their dad's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get contacted that there was this false signature,
Mm-hmm.
and then what do you do next?
And then that's when I put on my clothes, and then I contacted Corey and I said, hey, you guys put your clothes on, because I want to go over there and grab the babies or whatever, because your dad is doing too much, so I just want you guys to go with me. Just
talk to your son, Corey.
Yeah,
okay.
Corey Jr. I just asked him like, hey, could you and come down there with me just for like safety reasons,
sure,
so I can go grab the kids. And then I texted him, and then I had let him know like I had got that call too from like the court people, and I'm like, I just want you guys to come down there with me for safety reasons. But I took my sons with me for safety just in case, because me and Corey has a history of domestic violence. Mm-hmm. Just in case he decided
Which is reported?
Yeah, just in case he decided to want to put his hands on me.
That clip right there is the reason this whole story needs to be understood the way it actually happened. The mother, whose name appears in the court records only as KS, and who is identified as Kimberly in the video coverage, told detectives straight up that she did not feel safe going to that apartment alone. Junior was not dragged into this randomly. His own mother reached out to him and told him she needed him there to keep her safe, and he showed up because of that.
Your dad there?
No.
Okay, so he wasn't home when you guys got there? How long do you guys think you were there before your dad came home?
Like, so like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 20.
Okay, so 5 to 20 minutes. When he shows up, is he with someone or by himself?
He's by himself.
Okay, and then if you're able to kind of explain what happened.
But when he came in,
Yeah.
he came in like to the front door. I was grabbing my stuff, putting it in a suitcase, like my computer and my clothes. He came in, him and mom started to argue.
The second Corey Sr. walked through that door and saw what was waiting for him. The temperature in that apartment changed. His son, the one he had put out 2 weeks earlier, was standing in his space. The mother of his children, a woman he reportedly had a violent history with, was standing right there too, and all of the younger kids were in the middle of it. Whatever words got thrown around first, they turned into a full argument between the two parents almost immediately, and that argument is what lit the fuse.
The trigger point was like when me and Corey Sr. was talking in a conversation. Then Corey Jr. stepped in and told him like pertaining like let us go. It was like something in that matter, like let us go, move out the way, let us go. And then after that, that's when them two they started getting into it and getting into a tussle. And then I had to step into them like twice to break it up.
Junior was not trying to start a fight. He was trying to end one. But depending on the history between them, and there was clearly a lot of history, that probably did not land the way Junior meant it to, because the second he opened his mouth and got in the middle of it, Corey Sr. turned his focus away from the mother and directly onto his son, and from that moment forward, the situation went physical.
Tussling me, I mean like right here. He was throwing me around. And at this point, he had a gun in his hand.
Well, what happens then?
And he swings me around to the dining room, like the dining room kitchen table. And he swings me over there and there's uneven.
I know this is really tough, man. I can't even put myself in your shoes.
He swings me over to the table. And there's a firearm on the table. Or a gun. Yeah, I grab it and I shoot him.
His father shoved him onto a recliner chair and then forced him all the way over toward the dining room table. And through all of that, the mother and Junior's brother were both physically trying to get between the two of them, trying to stop this before it went somewhere it could not come back from. At the same time, the mother was pushing the younger kids toward the door and out into the hallway.
I had my little ones go out into the hallway. They're kind of like at the sofa by the door, and as they're arguing, I'm telling them like, go to the door. Go to the door.
Was
And
the
then
door open or closed when
it was closed.
It was closed, okay.
So like Aiden must have caught on to me telling the little ones to open the door, to go to the door, and he rushes to the door and opens it up and lets them out. He goes out and he lets them out. So he's in the hallway and I step from in between them to go help him to help the rest of the kids into the hallway, and I was finna go tell him to take the kids to the car. And that's when I heard the gunshots. That's when I heard it.
Where were you when the gunshots are struck?
I was in the hallway.
Okay.
She had literally just stepped out into the hallway when the shots went off, one after another, and she turned around and ran straight back in. What she came back to was her son standing near the dining room table, and his father on the floor of the living room. Junior had spotted a second gun sitting on top of the dining room table while his father was forcefully him against it, grabbed it, and started shooting. Corey Williams Sr. was hit in his left arm, his shoulder, his chest, his stomach, and his groin. He fell in the living room and was pronounced dead right there at the scene. His 47-year-old body stayed on that floor while his children, his mother, and his father all had to come to terms with what had just happened inside that apartment. While Corey Sr. was still on the floor of his apartment, the family outside was already falling apart. The grandmother, who had been somewhere in the building when the shots went off, got on the phone with 911 and told the dispatcher exactly what she knew in the clearest possible terms.
Where's the son?
I don't know if that's, I think that's the son. I think the son.
Grandson?
Anybody else in the house?
Apartment's clear. Apartment's clear. Sorry, there's cases all around me right now. Yeah, there's cases everywhere. We'll say probably.
Can you go get someone?
I got the gun right here.
You want to do that?
We got a firearm here.
We got firearm recovered right here. Where's Grandma?
She told dispatch, "My grandson shot his daddy up there." That was all officers needed to know before they even got through the front door of the building. Meanwhile, the grandfather, who had gone to the store with Corey Sr. earlier that afternoon and come back to take a nap, was woken up by the sound of gunshots above him. The mother was in tears and kept saying she did not want her son to go to jail, and she told the grandfather directly that Junior had shot his father. When the grandfather looked over at Junior and asked him what happened, the 18-year-old did not try to dodge it. He said, "I shot him." He stayed at the scene, did not try to run, and was taken into custody by Milwaukee police when they arrived shortly after the call came in at around 2:40 in the afternoon. A 9mm handgun was recovered from the floor near where he fell when police arrived, and the whole apartment, a space that was supposed to be a quick stop to pick up some kids and leave, had become a homicide scene in the span of a few minutes. When detectives first tried to question him that same evening, Junior exercised his right to stay quiet, which is completely within his rights. But after his mother sat down with investigators and walked them through the history she had with Corey Sr., the domestic violence she described, the reason she brought her sons along, and the way she said the argument started, detectives went back to Junior the following day and he agreed to talk. On July 3rd, the day after the shooting, he gave them the full account of everything that had happened inside that apartment. Junior walked detectives through the eviction 2 weeks earlier, the purpose of the visit, the argument between his parents, and then the physical confrontation step by step, telling them his father had grabbed him by the collar while holding a gun, threw him across the room and over the dining room table, and that he grabbed a second gun off the table and fired because he was being overpowered by a 300-pound man. He said he stopped as soon as his father fell. Junior told detectives he stopped shooting the moment his father went down and did not fire again. After that,
one of the things that happens when someone passes away is they do an autopsy. Do you know what an autopsy is?
Yeah.
Okay. So part of an autopsy is that they'll examine any wounds that someone has, like any injuries, especially bullet holes, and they'll see when those came in, try to determine how far away the gun was when it was fired, and kind of the path that that bullet took through the person, okay? And that helps us also kind of recreate what happened. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. One of the things that I'm concerned about down the line is that the autopsy shows that potentially maybe he was hit while he was already on the ground. If that's the case, I just want to jump ahead of that and figure out why that would be. So if that happened, I would really appreciate kind of the explanation behind that versus hearing it one way now and then figuring it out later. Because I'm not calling you a liar at all. I just want to get ahead and figure out what happened.
Investigators found shell casings near the body, and detectives raised that point directly with Junior because it is exactly the kind of detail that changes a self-defense story. If it turns out the person kept shooting after the threat was already over, Junior held his position that he stopped firing once his father fell. But those casings were something the prosecution was going to have to reckon with if this case ever went in front of a jury. Then detectives pressed him on the other thing that could make or break his whole self-defense argument: whether his father was actually armed during the fight.
Did he still have the gun in his hand?
I didn't see that.
Okay, so you're not sure if he had the gun in his hand at the time?
I'm not sure.
And when they asked him flat out why he pulled the trigger at all,
I mean, why? Why did you shoot?
He was attacking me. That dude is like 300 pounds.
But then at the time you told my partner that he had you by the shirt, right? But that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't see him with the gun at that point when you started firing.
I did see him with the gun.
When you started firing?
No, when he first started to pull on my shirt, I saw him with the gun.
Yep.
When I was by the table, he had his arm like this.
Okay. So at that point you didn't see it, but
I knew it was there, yeah.
prosecutors later noted in court that it was not fully clear whether Corey Sr. ever had a gun in the way Junior described. Beyond that, other family members who were right there in that apartment told police they did not see either person holding a firearm during the fight. 2 guns were recovered at the scene, which lined up with Junior's claim that there had been 2 separate firearms in that room, but exactly who had what and at what point during the fight was never definitively established, and that unresolved question is a big part of why what happened next at sentencing left so many people shaking their heads. That full interview, combined with the grandmother's 911 call, the grandfather's account, and what the mother had already told investigators, gave police everything they needed to build the case. Junior was charged with 1 count of second-degree reckless homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, and his bond was set at $10,000 cash, with a condition that he could not possess any weapons. The case was filed in Milwaukee County Circuit Court under case number 2025-CF-003094, and it was heading toward trial. That trial never happened.
It's all that, but we're going to begin tonight at 5 with our big story. Prosecutors say he pulled out a gun and shot his father multiple times.
But the Milwaukee 18-year-old, now charged, says there's more to the story. Our Durante Matthews live with why the teen says he pulled the trigger.
Yeah, Kim and Ted, Corey Williams is now charged in the shooting death of his father. The shooting happened last week, and Williams was in court today. He says he picked up a gun in self-defense.
Wisconsin versus Corey Williams.
Mere months after turning 18, Corey Williams is facing adult charges.
And obviously the allegations in this complaint are very serious.
Prosecutors say it all started last week in this apartment building on West Atkinson.
This is an extremely sad case for a variety of reasons.
Court records say Williams and his mother went to his father's apartment. They were picking up Williams's other siblings. Police say the 18-year-old told them he had been living with a relative after his dad kicked him out weeks ago. A criminal complaint says at some point Williams's parents started arguing and he stepped in. He says his dad had a gun in his hand, grabbed him by his collar, and began tossing him around.
Mr. Williams tells me that this is not the first time that the alleged victim has abused him.
Prosecutors say Williams told police he grabbed a different gun and shot his dad more than 5 times. This includes the arm, shoulder, chest, and groin. During court Monday, Commissioner Barry Phillips questioned if Williams' father really had a gun.
I need to know if he had a gun. It's a big difference in what the situation is if he did or didn't.
Prosecutors say police did find 2 guns, but the state didn't know if a gun was found by the body.
Other family members say that they did not see either person with the firearm.
Family members told Fox 6 last week Williams was the one who killed his father. Police questioned him the next day. He then confessed. Now, both the state and defense say Williams has no prior criminal history. Court records show his cash bond was set at $10,000. He's not allowed to have access to any weapons either. Reporting live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse, Durante Matthews, Fox 6 News.
All right, Durante, thank you.
In February of 2026, both sides worked out a deal, and Junior pleaded guilty to a reduced charge, homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon. That is a lower charge than what he started with. The original reckless homicide charge required proof that he acted with a conscious disregard for human life. The negligent handling charge only requires that someone died because of how a firearm was used, without having to prove exactly what was in his mind when he pulled the trigger. It is still a felony, but it carries far less weight. Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge David Swanson sentenced Junior to 5 to 8 years in state prison, and then suspended the whole thing, putting him on 5 years of probation, with conditions that he cannot possess firearms and cannot use alcohol or non-prescription drugs. As long as he follows those conditions, Junior will not spend a single day in state prison.
Mr. Williams tells me that this is not the first time that the alleged victim has abused him.
The reasons for that outcome are all connected. Junior had 0 prior criminal history, which both the prosecution and the defense confirmed in court. He was 18 years old. Multiple family members were present at the scene, and their accounts all pointed to a chaotic, fast-moving situation, rather than anything that looked planned or deliberate. The mother's police interview painted a picture of a household with a real history of domestic violence, and she was on record saying she brought her sons to that apartment because she was scared of what Corey Sr. might do to her if she showed up alone. What you are left with is a 47-year-old man who will never see his children grow up, and an 18-year-old who gets to go home. Whether that feels like justice or not depends on how you weigh the domestic violence history, the self-defense claim, and every gap in this story that nobody was ever able to fully close. What is not up for debate is that Corey Williams Sr. is gone, and the family that walked into that apartment on July 2nd, 2025, just to grab some kids and leave, is not the same family that walked out. Before you go, let me leave you with one question. When a son steps in to protect his mother from a man she says has been putting his hands on her for years, and the whole thing ends with that man dead on the floor, where does the blame actually fall? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I genuinely want to know how you all see this one. And if you want to see another story like this, that video right there is already waiting for you. Drop your thoughts in the comments and click on one of the cards to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.